So if you want to find a comfortable seat or go to your back, whatever suits you best this morning, and just get really still for about 10 to 12 breath cycles. And feel the support of the earth, whether you're sitting, whether you're lying down, just let your bones be heavy and drop below your mind and into your body. And notice if you do have that sense of wanting to be in a hurry. And can you just say, thank you for visiting me, but I have this present moment to be in my body right now, and I'll catch up with you later. Let your inhale be deep and your exhale be long. If you're not on your back already, let's come to the mat and rest in position of comfort, the soles of your feet on the floor, as wide as the edge of your mat. Let your knees fall together. Feel for a broadness in your low back and the sacrum area. Imagine that you spilled some water, say, on the floor, or you put some water in a pan and it just spread out. Feel the spreading out of your feet. Feel the shoulder blades touching the floor, back of your head. And just let this support really anchor you. We're going to move today in a kind of a flowing practice where we're going to try to move from the center out and feel for this grounding from the center of our being, from the middle. Not too fast, not too slow. Balancing effort and ease. And whatever is touching the floor, we'll be on our backs for a while. We'll be on our knees, hands and knees. We'll be on our feet standing. So whatever is touching the floor, that's your place of support. Feel that connection. And then you can bring your knees apart and just windshield wiper the knees back and forth, going at a pace that supports you. It'll be different for everybody. But just let your knees move back and forth. Feel a little bit of up shearing, lifting of one hip as you drop your knees in the opposite direction. You might like to stretch the opposite arm and really reach and open through the side body as you move back and forth. Feel this diagonal connection through the center of your body. And then coming back to center, just a few pelvic tilts. So drawing pubic bone away from navel, pubic bone back towards navel. You might allow your head to just naturally do what it does. So my chin wants to tuck into my chest when I pull the pubic bone away from the navel. And then when I go in the opposite direction, my chin sort of lifts up towards the ceiling. And maybe that's your rhythm too. Just let your head move with your hips. And then come back to center and draw your right knee into your chest and around, and just make some circles with your right knee. You can keep your left knee bent, sole of the foot on the floor. Or if it's okay for your back and you want a little bit more effort, you could stretch the left leg long on the mat. And take your right knee in both directions here. And then just interlace your hands behind your right hamstring, and then take your foot around in some circles. Circle through the ankle, both directions. Really connect to your foot here. You could flex and point, flex and point. Feel your toes spread. And then release your right foot to the floor and bring your left knee into your chest and circle through with the left knee coming in towards midline and then out. Just exploring the left hip. Take this in both directions. And then next time you bring your knee in towards your chest, interlace your hands behind the hamstring. Circle your left foot around. Take both directions. And then point your toes, flex it back towards the shins, point and flex. Spread your toes wide. I hear a lot of snap, crackle, pop in mine. And then take your soles of your feet back to the floor, grab a block. And you're gonna bend your knees and take the long side of the block right against your knees, or just below your knees rather, just the upper thigh. And you'll have, this is a little coordinated here, you take your elbows against the block. So elbows against the block against the knees, and then lift, press your knees into the block and your elbows into the block, so you're kind of holding the block in place so you can have your head lifted off the floor if that's okay for your neck. You might be able to just bring your hands kind of around your ears like a little helmet and not have too much work in the neck. And if it is too much work in the neck, just set your head back down. But press elbows into the block, press knees into the block, draw your toes back towards your shins. And take 3 more rounds of breath. Feel your hip flexors working. Feel the lower abdomen, the transverse abdominis, firing up here. And then just let the block fall down onto your belly and take your legs long, arms out to the side. Take a couple breaths. And bend your knees again, and now bring the short end of your block, to your right knee, right leg, and your right elbow to the block. And then stack your left leg right alongside your right leg, and bend your left elbow as if you had a block there. It'd be a little bit difficult to have two blocks here. And then press into press your elbow into the block and press the block into your knee. Okay, and then you could, with the left knee bent, left elbow bent, and you could have your head on the ground here if it's too much to hold your head up. Open your left leg and left arm out to the left, and then bring them back up to center. Keep pressing the right elbow into the block into the knee. Take your left knee and your left elbow out to the side and back to center. Good. How about the right side? Take the right side out to the right and back to center. Now, one more time, right knee and right elbow go out. You're pressing, holding the block in place. Good. How about both at the same time? Open up and come back to center. And open up and come back to center. Keep pressing your elbow into the block, really securing the block between your right upper thigh and your elbow. And now how about reaching left leg long, left arm long, and then back to the original position. And then left arm, left leg go long, back to center. One more time. Building some heat here. Release your feet down to the floor. Just let the block rest on your tummy for one breath cycle. Release your arms. And back again. Happy that we have just two legs, right? And press the block, put the block between your upper left thigh, closest to the knee, and your elbow, and press. You can have your head down on the floor if it's too much to hold your head up. And let's try taking now the right knee and right bent arm out to the side, back to center. Keep pressing the block, keep securing the block between your elbow and your thigh. Let's take the left leg out, pressing on the block, back to center. One more time. Back to center. Let's try them both. Another time. And now we'll stretch the right leg long, right arm long, back to original position. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Rest your feet down on the floor. Let the block set on your belly. One full breath cycle. And then bend your knees again. Take the short end of your block to your right thigh and take your left elbow into the block. Stack your left leg beside your right leg and bring your right arm out to the side. Press. Now we're on the diagonal, so press your left elbow into the block into your thigh. And then inhale, reach the left leg long and the right arm up overhead. And then back to center. And then reach away. And back to center. And one more time. You could have your head down if it's too much to have your head lifted, and back to center. And let's go right to the other side. So block to the left upper thigh and elbow, right elbow into the block. So the left arm reaches out to the side, you press into the block, and then inhale, stretch, right leg long, left arm up, and back to center. And one more time. And last one. And release your feet to the floor. Thank God. Rest the block on your tummy. One full breath cycle. And then from here, let's just roll right over to our tummy. Keep the block. Set the block out in front of you. Okay, and so you can have your arms in the Sphinx position. Reach through both legs, stretch your legs long. Okay, from here, a couple of options. So I'm going to take my elbows up onto the block and rest my forehead against my palms. Pull my pubic bone towards my navel and press palms into forehead, forehead into palms. Now, if that's not working in your shoulders, you could bring your elbows right down to the floor and try the same thing. So a little bit bigger back bend, of course, with the block. Press a little bit of pressure on the forehead from the palms of the hands. Good. And then from here, let's take your hands down beside you, beside your low ribs. And as you press into your hands, see if you can slide. You might not be able to with your mat. Just slide your knees forward and set your hips onto your knees. Great. All right, from here, we're going to start with the palms together. So your palms together, and then you're going to sort of start to make a circle, and then your backs of your hands will touch and you'll come around. So palms, circle, backs of the hands, back to the palms. So working the wrist here. Yep, and then take it in the opposite direction. Always challenging. We when I circle with things, I always go in my preferred direction, and then I try to reverse it, and I'm like, oh, this is really hard. And release. Take your fingertips to your shoulders. Inhale the elbows towards one another and make some circles. You're going to take the jacket off, it's too tight. So inhale and exhale. Bringing big circular motion through the shoulders. Take this in both directions. And then come back to center and start with one and then follow with the other, like you're backstroking. And then stop and start with the other, follow along with the other. So there'll be a little twist in your torso as you do a backstroke here. Good, and then you can drop your hips to one side, extend one leg out and have your other foot just right in front of your groin, and close your eyes here and just start to rub the sole of this foot, really feeling your foot. Just a little massage on the toes, the sole of your foot. And then switch. And instead of looking at your foot, feel your foot. Just feel your foot. Does so much work for us, the feet. Very good. And then from here, let's come to tabletop. Have your 2 blocks handy. Just start with a couple of cat-cows. You could be on your hands. If your wrists are impacted at all, you could come down to your forearms and just move through a few cat-cows. And then if you've come down to your forearms, come back up to your hands and spin your fingers out towards the edges of your mat. And you could just rock back and forth, side to side here a little bit. Feel the support, the hands connecting to the ground, the shins, and then we're just opening the forearms a little bit here, side to side. And then if it works in your body, turn your fingers back towards your body, towards your knees. And then you might be able to rock forward and backwards slightly. Probably a little less movement here than the side to side. Great. And then from here, you're going to take 1 block. If you don't have 2 blocks, obviously you won't be able to do this. But I'll show it to everybody, and then if you have the 2 blocks, you can play with it, or you can play with it later. So 1 block for my left knee. All right. And the other block for my right hand. So I can take my right foot, turn my toes under, and sort of hover my right knee next to my left knee. And then I can take my fingertips, my left fingertips to the floor. There's my balance. All right? So you could just feel this diagonal work here. If you're feeling like you can balance okay, lift the back foot off the floor, lift the hand off the floor. And if that feels okay, you could inhale and reach. And exhale, come back to knee and elbow touching. Inhale and reach away. And exhale, pull back in. 1 more time. And then take your knees back down, switch it up so that the block is on your right knee and left hand. So right knee comes to the block, left hand. You can have your fingertips of the right hand here and hover the left knee beside the right knee, or take your toes to the floor. Play around with the balance, and maybe you can lift the right hand. Draw from the center, and inhale, reach out, and exhale, come on back in. Inhale, reach, and exhale, come back in. Keep the back of your neck long. And 1 more time. And here we go. Then set your knees down. Move your blocks off to the side, not too far away. We'll use them again. Come back to table. Turn your toes under. Hover the knees. Press through your hands. Reach your hips back and set your hips up towards the ceiling in downward facing dog. Think about length from the sacrum to the crown of your head. You might pedal through your legs here. And maybe you want to play with balance here. So right foot, left hand, lift the other 2. Lift the left foot, left hand off the floor. And The opposite side, right hand, left foot, and lift your right foot, left hand. And back. Ah, good. Inhale, drop your knees, come into cow. Exhale, hips back to the child's pose. Inhale, sweep your arms up, come up onto your knees. Take your time here. Exhale, lower back down to child's pose. So this is going to be part of a vinyasa we're going to do here in a couple minutes. And we do this little portion quite a bit. So take your time. Inhale, come up to cow. Exhale, hips come back downward to child's pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to cow. And exhale, child's pose. Inhale to cow. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, press into your shins and reach up with your arms. Take your time, feel the connection, shins to the earth, and then exhale, back to child's pose. Inhale, cow. I think last night we had the 13th full moon of the year. Exhale, downward facing dog. So we'll do a little moon salutation. So now from this downward facing dog, walk your feet up to your hands in a bent forward fold, and then inhale, reach the crown of your head long, length between the crown of the head and the sacrum. Exhale, fold once more. And then hands to hips, hinge up at the waist. Take your time. Very good. All right. So here we go. We're going to begin. Looks like I need to get in the frame a little bit more. Okay. Inhale, reach your hands up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, deep squat. Set your hips down, reach your arms forward. And then press your hands into the floor and lift your hips. Exhale. At the end of that exhale, step your left foot back and set your left knee on the floor. Inhale, reach the arms up and let the hips sink forward. Exhale, hands down around the front foot, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, drop to your knees, come to cow. Exhale, hips back, child's pose. Inhale, press into your shins and reach your arms up. Exhale, fold back into child's pose. Inhale, come back up to table to cow. Exhale, press your hips up and back, downward facing dog. At the end of this exhale now, you'll bring your left foot forward and drop your right knee to the floor. Inhale, sweep the arms up, lift your hips, dive forward. Exhale, hands down around the front foot, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, drop your knees to the floor, come to cow. Exhale, take your hips back into the child's pose. Inhale, sweep the arms up, come up on your knees, take your time and get a little dizzy right there. And then exhale, fold, draw the core in, come back to child's pose. Inhale, come back up to table, to cow. And exhale, set your hips back, downward facing dog. Inhale, walk your feet up to your hands, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold through center. Inhale, deep squat, reach the arms forward, set your hips back. Exhale, hands come to the floor, hips lift. Then at the end of that exhale, set the right foot back, right knee down. Inhale, sweep the arms up and reach the hips forward. Exhale, hands down around the front foot, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, drop your knees, come to cow. Exhale, round and bring your hips back, child's pose. Inhale, sweep up on your knees, reach your arms up. Exhale, drop back down, child's pose. Inhale, come to cow. Exhale, turn your toes under, downward facing dog. And at the end of the exhale, right foot comes forward, left foot down. Inhale, sweep the arms up, hips come forward. Exhale, hands down around the front foot, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, drop your knees, come to cow. Exhale, back to child's pose. Inhale, sweep the arms up, come up on your knees. Reach the arms overhead. Maybe you invite a little back bend here. Exhale, draw your core in, drop the hips back, child's pose. Inhale, back to cow. Exhale, turn your toes under, downward facing dog. Inhale to walk your feet up to your hands, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And take your time. Exhale, bring hands to heart center and fold. We'll go again. Inhale, drop your hips, low squat, reach your arms forward. Exhale, press your hands into the floor, lift your hips. At the end of the exhale now, step the left foot back, drop the left heel. Inhale, sweep the arms up, let the hips come forward. Exhale, hands down around the front foot, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, drop your knees, come to cow. Exhale, round back, child's pose. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, drop hips back, child's pose. Inhale, back to cow. Exhale, downward facing dog. And at the end of that exhale, bring your left foot forward, right knee to the floor. Inhale, sweep the arms up, hips come forward. Exhale, hands down around the front foot as you step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, come to cow. Exhale, drop your hips back, child's pose. Inhale, press into your shins and sweep the arms up. And exhale, fold, child's pose. Inhale, come back up to table. Exhale, downward facing dog. Next inhale, you walk your feet forward, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold through center. Do the other side now. Inhale, deep squat, arms forward. Exhale, hands to the floor, hips come up. Now it's the right foot back. Drop your right knee to the floor. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hands down around the front foot, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, knees to the floor, come to cow. Exhale, hips back, child's pose. Inhale, sweep your arms up, come up on your shins. Exhale, set your hips back, reach your hands forward, child's pose. Inhale, up to table. Exhale, downward facing dog. At the end of that exhale, bring your right foot forward, left foot to the left knee to the ground. Inhale, sweep arms up and bring hips forward. Exhale, hands down around the front foot, curl back toes, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale to cow. Exhale to child's pose. Inhale, press into your shins, sweep your arms up. And last fold into child's pose. And just take a few breaths in this child's pose. You could separate your knees, come all the way between your legs, or just let your body rest on your thighs. You could bring your arms out to a T and pull in both directions as we often do. Just take a few resting breaths here in your child's pose. Bring hands alongside your body or to your sacrum. And then from here, we're gonna take our hands to the floor and slide ourselves all the way forward into Sphinx. And reach right leg away, left leg away. Press your legs firmly into the ground and draw your pubic bone towards your navel. Lift your heart. Take a few rounds of breath here. It might feel nice to drop your chin to your chest and move right and left. And then allow yourself to come down to the ground. Rest your forehead on the floor. If that doesn't work, come to crocodile. So make a little pillow with your hands and rest your forehead on your hands. And then we'll all bring our forehead to the floor, arms alongside your body. Lift your palms towards the ceiling. Lift your head and shoulders. Lift your legs. Squeeze the legs together if that works for you. And feel the hamstring engagement. And then when you release, you can come back to crocodile. Bend your knees and let your feet move softly back and forth. So the same windshield wiper motion, just releasing a little tension in the low back. And then we'll come back, do one more. So bring your forehead to the floor, arms alongside your body, palms up towards the ceiling. Lift your palms towards the ceiling. Lift your head and shoulders, lift your legs and squeeze. Bend through your elbows and put your hands right by your low ribs. Press yourself up through table and back to downward facing dog. And then walk your feet to your hands or your hands to your feet. Take your time here and come on up to Tadasana. Okay, so now we need a block, and you might need a little wall space just for your hand, just to balance with your hand. So I'm going to start, doesn't matter which side you start on, but we're going to take, this will be familiar. I'm going to start by giving myself a little support with the wall, left hand on the wall, and I'm going to bring my knee and my right elbow together. Right knee, right elbow together. And I'm going to squeeze just like we did on the floor. I'm going to squeeze the block between my right knee and my right elbow. And then I'm going to bend forward. And at this point, maybe you can take the hand away, maybe not. And you can see if you could do a couple of balancing moves here. Bending forward. It might not be a big bend. That's okay. Just moving forward and backward. Or up and down, rather. Good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come into a version of Warrior 3. So if you can use the wall space to get yourself pretty much back parallel to the floor, you'll take opposite hand, set the block down, and then reach through the bent leg, reach through the same arm, square your hips, and come into Warrior 3, a variation of Warrior 3. And then release your right foot to the floor, whatever your upper leg was, hands to hips, and press up. Okay, we'll try the other side. So for me now, I've got my right side against the wall, and I'm going to take my left knee, bend my left knee, and it takes a little bit of coordination to press the block and elbow into block, block into same place we did on the floor. And then just a little movement. Coming forward and standing back up. Really feel the engagement in your center here. And then see if you could use the wall if you need to. See if you can come all the way into back flat with the parallel with the floor. Take the block out, set it in front of that front foot. Reach the back leg long, reach the front arm long. Square your hips. And then release that foot to the floor. Take a halfway lift and take a fold. Inhale to a deep squat, reach the arms forward, the hips back. Exhale your hands to the floor, the hips come up. Walk your hands forward now, coming back into downward facing dog. Squeeze muscle to bone. On your next inhale, come forward into the high plank. And then lower through chaturanga, or take your knees to the floor and lower yourself to the floor. Inhale, press into baby cobra. And exhale, lower to the floor. Keep your hands where they are. We'll do a few baby cobras. Inhale, press into your hands, lift into baby cobra. If you're warm enough in your back to go a little higher or go to upward facing dog, you can do that. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, press into baby cobra or to upward facing dog, and then through table and back to downward facing dog. Two breaths here in downward dog. Really draw the kneecaps up. Press the thighs back and away. And then walk hands to feet or feet to hands. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Press into your feet and inhale to lift the arms up. Coming into third, the Hastasana. And then drop your hands to your side. On an exhale, Tadasana. Great. And from Tadasana, then come to the center of your mat. And line up facing the long edge of your mat and spread your feet about a leg's distance apart. Toes parallel to one, big toes parallel to one another. The feet pretty parallel to the short edge of your mat. We're going to come into a twist, sort of a version of revolved triangle. So I'm going to bend through, I'm going to start by going left for me. I'm going to bend through my left knee and bring my right hand to my left foot. And then really draw muscle to bone on the right leg and straighten my left leg. I'm going to bring my left arm forward. That's going to be my inhale. So forward and let my gaze go out to my left hand. And then on the exhale, I'm going to twist and stack my left shoulder over my right shoulder. Both legs are firmed up. And as I inhale, reach again, reach forward on the inhale, and then exhale, twist. Relax your neck. And then bring your left hand down in front of your right hand. Bring both hands underneath your sternum, your face. Feel your hamstrings here. Do a couple of cat-cows or pelvic tilts just here. And then we'll bend through the opposite knee. So for me, that's right. And I bring my left hand across. I can have my right hand on my hip. And then I straighten both legs. Firm both legs up. Inhale, reach the right arm alongside your ear and forward. And exhale, twist and stack your right shoulder over your left shoulder. Inhale, reach the right arm forward. So bicep lined up with your ear. Your gaze could be out there as well. Firm both legs up. Exhale, twist, stacking right shoulder over left shoulder. And then release your right hand in front of your left hand, right foot, and bring both hands underneath your sternum, underneath your face. Heel toe your feet in just a little bit. Bend through the knees. Bring both elbows to both knees and come into a really big, wide squat, resting your elbows on your knees. And then you might just find a little fun moving back and forth, right to left a little bit. Great. And then we'll bring hands to knees, press ourselves up, come into horse goddess stance. Inhale, sweep your arms up, straighten your legs. Exhale, as you draw your hands through heart center, you can heel toe your feet in. Release your hands, Tadasana. Line the back of your head up with the back of your sacrum. And from here, you could take a vinyasa to come to the floor, or you could simply just come squatting back down to the floor. Drop your knees, or bend your knees, drop your hips, and lower yourself down. However you get to the floor, we're going to meet in Dandasana, staff pose. And let's all meet with our hands behind us, fingers pointing away. So we have the natural arch in the low back here. This might be your Dandasana right here. And if you can keep that natural curve in your low back, walk your hands up towards your hips. And this might be your Dandasana. And if you can keep that low curve in your back, you might bring your hands, palms down beside your legs and sort of slide yourself forward and back. Keeping nice length in your back, sliding forward and back. And you could just do a few rounds here, or you could hold in a position that you can remain with that nice natural curve in your low back. So hinging at the waist, right? The pelvis is tilted forward. And then you could tuck your chin here and round in. Once you have the
light on under the counter over there. Okay, good.
Once you have everything in place here, you can fold. And then from here, walk your hands back up and slide your hips forward and come on down into position of comfort here. You could take a twist in one direction or the other. Happy baby. Just find something now to support the end of your practice. So really moving back and forth and finding yourself back on the ground, supported by the earth. Taking whatever you need before you settle down into Shavasana. If you have a blanket that you could cover up with, and or even a bolster that you could place on your lower belly, the hips, just to really get that feeling of being grounded. Might even suggest covering the eyes. We have about 3 or 4 minutes in the Shavasana. Really let it be a support to you. So soften the muscles around your eyes, between your brow. Soften your hands. And just like when we started in the beginning, that image of water spreading, can you let your body just spread? Let the back of your body spread out on the floor. Legs spread. And can you bring that same expansiveness to your mind? Just let it Let things come and go like the clouds in the sky. Just let it spread out. No doubt many of us will have some thought and maybe even intentional ceremony around the new year. Thich Nhat Hanh talks about beginner's mind and what does it mean to start over? And of course, we get to do that every day. But this time of year is particularly auspicious for starting over. And as you ponder this year, what are the things that you'd like to carry forward? What are the learnings for you? What are the things that haven't served you very well that maybe you could leave behind? A gesture when we touch our heart space. If you want to take your hands to your heart space and just connect there, maybe what is your deepest gratitude from this year? You can stay in Shavasana as long as you like. You want to come back up to a seat, take your time. And with your hands in a gesture of prayer that works for you. Peace, 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 shanti, shanti, shanti. To all sentient beings, may we find our way. May we trust the guidance that unfolds day after day. May we stay committed to our practices and to one another so that we might help unveil the hidden brilliance that lies within us all. Namaste.